What's going on, everybody? Triple Crown 24 back today. I'm going to be answering the question of what do I look for when I'm buying sports card inventory as a sports card dealer. I've kind of got this divided up into different categories. There's actually a contest that ends this 4th of July weekend. So happy 4th of July to everyone. Have fun and be safe out there. That Mr. Fisher Bike is putting on, so shout out to him. Make sure to check him out. Link in the description down below. So I thought this kind of tied in well because he wants us to show off 5 to 10 cards that are in our possession or collection, I guess you could say, but it's not necessarily someone that we PC, which for me, I'm going to count that as anyone who is not Miguel Cabrera and any card that was not a gift that was given to me, because pretty much everything else is fair game. I'm just a little bit more flexible on certain cards and some of the cards that I will show off today. Then he also wants us to give 2 shout-outs. I'll do that later on in the video. So I really have 7 different categories here for what I divide these up as, and this is not the definitive end-all be-all of what I look for, but these are just some ideas and some things that I consider, and kind of cards that fit those billings. So the first one is what I call the attention grabber. And it's this one. This is one of 2 cards I'm going to show off that I'm not in a hurry to move. This one is listed on eBay for an astronomical price. It's because I'm not really in a hurry to move it, because I pulled it myself and I didn't really buy it for inventory purposes. I bought it to have fun, the box being that I pulled it out of. But I thought it did fit this example well, so I wanted to show it. The attention grabber, the kind of the premise behind it is when I'm set up at shows. I know right now that's not really a possibility for the most part. Say that you're walking by my table and I have just a few seconds to kind of capture your attention. What are you going to see in those few seconds that you're looking at my inventory that's going to get you to stop, come over, and look? Because once you stop and come over, that's when I can initiate you and engage you as a buyer, and then we can start that buyer-seller dialogue. And I'm pretty confident in my ability to sell cards, but I want them to do the talking for me as well. I want my prices to be able to do the talking for me, and as long as I'm personable and friendly, that's what I feel will help drive sales. So that's kind of my idea behind it. This card right here, you stop and you see it at a showcase. It's a very popular player in the hobby. It's an on-card auto with a nostalgic 90s design on this 2020 card. It's got the man insert from 98 that it's recreating here. This has a wide appeal to a lot of people. Going to get a lot of people's attention. So this is the type of card that I say is a attention grabber. And it doesn't always have to be a super expensive card like this one, but I do like to have a couple in the showcase that maybe it's some kind of really cool patch card, maybe it's a really hot player, it's got some incredible shine on it. There's a lot of different things to grab attention with, but that's just one of the examples, I would say. All right, the second one is what I like to call the undervalued. I put a question mark on that because I'm not a speculator, prospector, investor type. That's just really not my thing. But if I see a card that I believe is undervalued for what I think it might go for later on down, and I'm talking not years and years down the line, but I think that more people are going to want it in the near future, I guess that's kind of a prospector type. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. So in this case, this is a 2013 Topps Mike Trout. This is the sliding with the rookie cup, card number 27 in the set. This card has started to take off a little bit. Not take off, but it's launching. It's on its way because a lot of people have been priced out of the 2011 market for Trout, and then in some cases even the 2012 market with certain cards. It's kind of blown up to the point where people can't necessarily afford some of the tougher ones. So as those options kind of become more and more out of reach, people still have to collect. And if you want to collect Trout, then you're going to have to look for the next best thing, which in this case, this is kind of the next best thing. It would be second or third year stuff. This one right here, rookie cup card, really great image on it. So this is the type of card that if I see it for $1, I'll pick it up. So that's kind of one of the things with the undervalued is a lot of these cards that, like for example, in this one, I think I got this one for $1 or something, or this might have been one I rummaged. I can't remember. But if I were to see this card for $1, I'm going to grab it because I think that's a little bit too cheap for it. And generally, I'm not saying oh, this is an $80 card. I think it should go for 100. That's not really, those aren't really the ones I'm looking for. It's more so the low risk type. I'm more of a low risk buyer, I would say. All right, number 3 on the list is the classics. Now I know this one is low grade, but it does have really good coloring on it, very bright and vibrant for a 78 tops. And this is a Lou Whitaker rookie. This is a classic card for Tigers fans, and I set up at a lot of shows that are near Tigers fans. I like to go up to Detroit when I set up at shows, and a lot of my my buyer base, I do have a good following on the Facebook groups that I'm in for Tigers collectors, so I'm always looking for good Tigers stuff that I can move in there. So these are classic cards that will always have someone looking for them. Sweet Lou. If you're a Tigers fan and you've been a Tigers fan for any period of time, you know who Sweet Lou is. So that is what I call the classic. That one also kind of ties into number 4, which I call the local guys. So there's local in terms of the team interest. So when I go up to Detroit, this is obviously a card that is going to be a little bit more looked at than, say, if I went down, if I set up more locally in Cincinnati. Now, in terms of setting up closer to where I live now in Cincinnati, here's an example of one. This is a Darius Baisley rookie that I picked up earlier this week that I plan on submitting for grading. I'll try to get it in there on the back. There we go. Played at Princeton High School, which is like 15-20 minutes down the road from me, I want to say. So yeah, this is a guy who does have local interest here. High school sports are kind of a big thing around Cincinnati, so a lot of the guys who played high school ball, if that's basketball, football, baseball, whatever the case may be, people remember it. That's kind of a running joke around the area that people ask more so, where did you go to high school rather than where did you go to college? It seems that high school sports has a lot more of a pride and a following than college sports in a lot of cases, which is kind of odd to me. But hey, that's Cincinnati for you. So that's why a guy like Andrew Benintendi, who played high school ball around here, is also one that I look at. I get asked about him at shows around here, and people have an interest in him. So I'm always looking for kind of these local guys. Sometimes they're pretty cheap, like Darius Baisley, fairly affordable, and I think that he has a lot of potential. Andrew Benintendi has some success, but he's kind of down right now because he didn't have a great 2019. So that's a guy who I can get at a pretty good deal. And he's only, I mean, the nice thing about those guys too is that generally they are pretty good at holding interest from people. I get asked about guys who haven't touched a baseball in 20 years, all because they played high school ball 15 minutes down the road from where the show is at. It's kind of crazy, but they definitely have very dedicated followings and fans. So that's something I look for. Number 5 is the set builder / player collector's dream. Now this one hits particularly close to home. This is a 2018 Topps Heritage Mini of Ryan Zimmerman. Kind of a random card to be showing off, but I'm showing it off nonetheless because Heritage is a very popular set for set builders. And to pull a mini, it's not necessarily easy, but I wouldn't say it's insanely difficult. Now, to pull a mini of a specific guy that you're looking for, if you're a player collector or you're a set builder and you need a specific guy, then it starts to, those odds start to add up, and maybe you don't find them as easily. And again, these are cards that maybe are pretty cheap, or at least I can get them for pretty cheap because sometimes people pull them and they're only interested in the big hits or the rookies or whatever team or player they may collect. So if it's something like this and you're not really a Nationals fan, a Ryan Zimmerman fan, or you're just not a set builder, then this probably gets tossed in a box somewhere, and eventually that's a box that I buy out at a store, and then I go ahead and put it on eBay, and someone who's a set builder sees this finally pop up, they need it, and they're willing to pay up for it because they don't want to take the chance of missing out. So that is kind of one of the ideas. And I would say that my experience as a player collector, knowing that I'm looking for very specific cards, so in this case, like for example, I don't have a 2018 Heritage Mini of Miggy. If one popped up, it's a card I kind of want, so I might be a little bit more aggressive with it. You might get a little bit more out of it than maybe you were expecting to get for a card like this. So that's just an example. Maybe not the best example, but one of them there. Number 6, this one kind of ties into that one as well, is it's what I call the good deal. So people are always looking for good deals, right? You see a card that you think is undervalued, do you want to go pick it up? I just talked about it earlier. I'm one of those people who will buy stuff if I think it's undervalued. So this is a card right here. It's a Bobby Witt Jr. first paper camo from Bowman, and I have pretty much nothing into this. So I can afford to sell this a little bit below what they're going for, or I can beat the prices on what people are asking for them right now if for some reason they were to spike, because I'm not really too fearful of not being able to maximize my profits, so to speak, on selling a card like this. I'm going to make sure that I make money on it, and I'm going to make enough where it's worthwhile for me. Or if it drops, I might just sit on it for a while because I really have nothing into it. So I'm very much a low risk guy. I probably said that earlier in the video, but for a card like this, I'm not paying $4.50 for it with the hopes of selling it for $5. If I'm going to buy a card like this, I'm going to get it for really, really cheap. I'm going to bundle it together. I'm going to buy in bulk, and that way I can offer up a good deal. There is always, potential future value out of things, but that's potential is an interesting word because it's not a guarantee. And I'm more so this playing it safe. I'll gladly cash in early because I know I've been right a lot more times than cashing in early than I've been wrong, so to speak, in terms of what a card ended up being worth in the future if it ever ascended to a next level in terms of price. It doesn't happen all that often on a lot of guys. So I've been wrong before, trust me. See my 2011 update Mike Trouts for an example of that. And then the last one is what I call the wait and see. And this is a card that is not really for sale right now unless you gave me a price that I just could not refuse. And what that number is, I don't even really know. I kind of have a small idea in my head, but you don't want to hear it because it's absolutely absurd right now compared to market values. This is my 2003 Topps LeBron James. Again, I got it out of a pack myself, and I initially when I pulled it, the idea was that it was going to be inventory, but really this card is one of the safer bets in terms of modern players. LeBron James, aside from disaster, if he retires tomorrow, as some of your favorite YouTubers might say, is his value going to hold? And to me, the answer is yes. His legacy is pretty much already there. He's going to always be in the discussion for the greatest of all time, I would say. So LeBron James, this card right here, I just really can't see something terrible happening to it. If something does, then we have larger issues to talk about in the sports card hobby. But this is more so a wait and see what happens to it. Maybe one day it gets to the point where maybe I need to make the move to, for whatever reason, or it just gets to a price that is just too crazy where I can't say no anymore. But for now, we'll wait and see. So those are 7 types of cards that I look for. Hope that you enjoyed that little portion. And then the 2 shout-outs for the video. I wanted to make sure that I got those in as well. 2 channels, 2 guys who are really great members of the community who I don't think get enough attention. The first one is going to be the Collazo Effect. He has 398 subscribers. He's a Peyton Manning super collector. You guys know I like my super collectors. And I think if you enjoy my super collection videos, you'll enjoy his as well. He's very knowledgeable. He's a really good size collection. He's on the road to 3,000 unique cards in his super collection like I am. So it's kind of cool to see what he picks up and be able to keep up with the football side of things. I've been binge watching some of his videos lately, so go check him out. Give him some love. And then the second one would be Bean's Ball Card Blog. 376 subscribers, and really just a tremendous member of the community. If you're not familiar, Kin also has a Twitter account where he's actually probably tweeted out one of your videos before, getting more eyes on it. I know that I've had several people come over from the Twitter side of things because Kin was out there promoting some of my videos, and it's always really nice of him to do that. It's nothing that I've ever asked for or anything. He just does it, and he's he's just a fantastic guy to get to know well. And I think he gives a lot of knowledge on his channel. I know a lot of you have given me praise before for really going in depth, and that's something that is valued in this community, I would say, is having that knowledge and giving a little bit more with the videos. So could not recommend them enough. But yeah, two guys who I think are vastly underappreciated, who I really have enjoyed getting to know a little bit better, and I would encourage you to get to know a little bit better yourself. So there you go. That's my response for Mr. Fisher Bike and my 7 types of cards that I look for inventory. Thanks for hosting this, Jason. I appreciate it. But hopefully everybody has a safe weekend, a fun weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Until then, have a good one.